Alright, so let's do a lap guide for race C around Tokyo with the Supra. Lap of rest with clean air. That's the slap maybe. That should be fine. Okay, so let's start with the last corner. Alright, so 50-meter board, you want to line your car up on the right side of the road by the time you get to the 50-meter board. And you want to brake just after the 50, like around here, and a straight line down to 4th, even a little bit later. And you want to focus on getting your braking done around this area of the track and rotating the car in so that way when you get on the accelerator, you don't want to try to turn in too wide. You want to keep the weight kind of centered so that the car still allows it to turn when you get on the throttle and you don't get a lot of understeer from turning the wheel really hard. So you want to come in, kind of float in here in third, and then ease on the throttle when the car's closest to the wall. And then just hold your steering and make sure you're not understeering and pushing the right front tire in this area of the track. So basically in this whole exit of the corner, you don't want to be pushing your right front tire because you'll just end up in the wall. So if you do it right, it'll feel smooth and nice and easy, and the car will carry a lot of speed out of the corner and you won't hit this wall on exit. All right. So a little bit after the 50. Right about here. A little bit before these arrows. And you want to be off the brakes right around here, so that way you can float into the corner. Right, and I'm accelerating as I come into the inside wall. So right there I start accelerating. As the car's coming in, and I'm carrying this trajectory and momentum into the corner. Alright, so it's still cutting in. And then as I'm going full throttle here, right in the middle of the corner, this is your center of the corner right here. This line. So as soon as you get past this, you should be full throttle from this point onward. And then you want to stay tight to the left. Tight to the left through this corner. Literally like right against the wall. From that corner way down there, all the way down here, you can just be right in this lane. And then as you come out of here, just go straight across the track and line yourself up against the right side wall. Then we're going to brake at the 50. And we're going to shift down to 4th. Alright, so you're going to shift down to 5th right here. Full brake. Down to 4th. Lead the car in a little bit. But you also want to wait until you're down into 4th gear to start coming off the brakes and bring the car in. Because you want to make sure you get rotation into here. So like you want to do your straight line braking up front. And then as you go to turn into the corner, you want to be off the brakes and roll into the corner. You don't want to do a lot of trail braking here. Just a little bit. Then you want to get back on the throttle. So same thing as the last corner. Come in, make sure you get tight to the inside wall, and then here's your halfway point, and then from right here, you're full throttle. And the car shouldn't be pushing or understeering. You want to make sure the car floats in enough, so that way you don't have a lot of understeer on your right front tire, and it'll pull inwards, and then you can get on the throttle, and it'll keep pulling through the corner without understeering and pushing you wide. Smooth steering. All right, so here on brand new tires, if you aren't behind somebody, you can pretty much brake right where this curb starts. Basically, when your front tires are right here, you can brake in a straight line, and you'll stop by the time you get to the corner. So you brake in a straight line, downshift to third, right? As you get to third, you start to downshift into second, you start trail braking in from here, lead the car into the corner, try and get a little bit of this curb, even if you can get your right tire over this curb, and you just want to hold your steering, right? Light trail braking, roll in, let the car roll around, get down to first, go back up to second. And then you're going to want to, when you're in first and second gear here, you want to use throttle to kind of rotate the car and get the ass end to turn for you, right? So you want to kind of pivot the car with the throttle right around here and right around here to help you line the car up for this S curve afterwards. And then you're going to do the same thing here, where you're going to use throttle through this corner to set the car up and rotate it to the right. And then you're going to do the same thing here, where you're going to lift, turn, and then give it gas and try to get the car to rotate through the corner with a little bit of oversteer as you like come over the curb part. Right? Because this is kind of like a little bit dirty. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this curb. What is that? I don't know. GranTurismo. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, though? You know what I mean? Look at this. No, this game's hilarious. Okay, so if I don't go near that fucking curb, you can actually look at it. Alright, so 100 meter board. I almost kill him. That's a terrible example. This is also terrible because there's fucking cars in front of me. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so 100 meter board. Right? I'm in third gear. I slightly start trail braking. Notice how my brake is a little bit off. Right? So I start trail braking a little bit as I come away from the outside of the road, and then I slowly release the pedal as I come into the corner. Right? So like gently lead into my steering. I go down to second. My brake foot is slowly coming off the brake. Right? Down to half. Down to a quarter, and then I come off all the way. Just a little bit of throttle to help rotate. Throttle lift. And then you can cut this curve a lot. So like right here, your whole car needs to be over the curb basically. You want your left side tires on this white line. Just like so. Left side tires on the white line, and same thing over here. At least your right side tires on the white line. So like this part of the corner, it gives you a little bit of room to put your car to the inside close to this wall. So this is like what you're aiming for. Most people are like aiming for this spot as they exit this section. Aim for the inside. Aim so you just keep your right tire on this white line and give yourself an extra car width to use through that apex, and then it gives you more road for exit. Instead of trying to cut it so hard and so tight, and then people come through this corner, they don't even try to get rotation back here with throttle. They come out of here and try to keep the car square and straight, and then when they turn left full throttle, the car just goes straight into this wall. Because back here, they didn't get the ass end to start to pitch a little bit and rotate while they were accelerating out of the corner. Right? And then my right side tires are right on this curb. And you just have like that much room between you and the wall. It's basically impossible to hit this wall without taking a penalty. But like if you look at it and you're sitting here and you're flat out and two cars are going the same speed, and you take this car and you copy paste it and put it directly beside my car, and then you look at the wall ahead of you, this car has way more room until I get to the wall compared to this one. If you just point them straight, right? This car's just going to smash it. And they're going to be lucky if they don't hit it by the time they get to like this part of the guardrail right here. Not my favorite part. 50-meter board for this corner. All right, also notice these little red bumps. These little red lines on the road. Okay? They seem useless. They seem like they don't do anything. But if you've ever felt chatter on your tires as you're going into this corner, or you've wondered why your car slides as you trail brake into here, it's because of these red bumps. These red lines are actually little bumps in the braking zone and on the exit of the corner. So we brake just after the 50. A little bit after this little line on the ground. It's basically like one Mississippi. Right, you're going to whiz by the 50, one Mississippi, brake. Boom. Just after this line. So like you can also use these red lines as your braking point too. And just look for the second, third one after the 50. So you have one at the 50, then 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to brake in a straight line. You're going to stay wide. And you're going to lightly brake as you start to turn. You can even like lightly brake into the corner. Because what it's going to do is it's going to let the ass end slide a little bit and rotate for you as you come into this corner. So like you'll come in really wide right before you get to the solid red. And right here, as you start to come from the outside of the track to the inside of the track over these last two bumps, the ass end is going to kind of like skip and rotate, and you'll get a little bit of oversteer under trail braking, which will hook you into the corner. And then once you hook into the corner, then you can ease on the throttle, and then just make sure as you get to about here, you can go full throttle in the middle of the corner, no problem. But once you get out here, if you don't stay committed with your steering, or say your left front is on lap 9 and you don't have a lot of grip on the left front tire and your tires are a bit shot, when you go over these red bumps on exit after the flat red part, you're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you've ever come out of here and you've understeered out of this corner, you'll know the chatter that I'm talking about where the front tire just hops, 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 and then you get into the fucking wall. That's what it is these bumps. So if you come out of this corner and you lift for just a second while you're going over, say, these first 3, and then floor it again, you can kind of minimize the understeer, keep the car centered and turning, and have grip when you get back to full throttle, and you won't have to force the steering. Because if you turn too hard and you come through this corner on the exit, it's just going to hop, and the wheel's going to chatter, and you're just going to end up in the left front with the left front understeering into the wall. So you really want to set your trajectory for exit. And it's just a gentle turn, right? You just brake, slow the car down, float in, right? Give it some steering. Make sure the car's going to commit to the corner. And then you want to prioritize right here. I want my trajectory to stay coming in a little bit. I don't want to leave the inside wall too soon. I want to keep my trajectory coming to the inside because once you get to this part, it's going to start to understeer. So get it to the inside for as long as possible so it's pulling in towards here. And then when you hit this part, you're guaranteed to be able to hold full throttle all the way out of the corner. And anybody that's having to lift through here, you'll gain time on them. And anybody that hits a wall, you'll gain a lot of time on them, all the way down the straightaway. And so I hit like, what, 180 out of there? But 160 minimum speed. And then like 183 when I'm at the outside wall. With like 3 lines to go, okay? If you go back here and you watch Flocker, let's see what he does. Same thing. Okay, did anybody notice what he did? He went into the corner a little bit too hot and didn't trail brake enough and didn't slow the car down enough. And that's why he hit that wall. In the whole braking part, he did not do any of this properly. Okay? Watch his braking. It's just lazy. This is lazy braking. Don't fucking do this. Don't sit there and just lightly tap it, just as light as possible, and don't even try to fucking slow down and then sail through the apex too fast. Because you're going to do this every time. See how he kind of tries to, but he just forces it with steering and then floors it and understeers? That's completely fucking wrong. Coming through here. Close as you can to the wall. Okay, just gently lead the car into here. You don't need a lot of steering for this corner. I'm not kidding. You do not need to turn 90 degrees to go through this corner. That's how much I turn. That's it. Straight line. No problem. You can even go through there too wide. Believe it or not. I know most people won't believe me, but you can actually do it. All right, now we're going to brake halfway in between the 150 and the 100. Literally. Halfway in between. Pretty much. A little bit before. Maybe halfway between the 150 and this pillar. All right, so about 135-ish. 140 maybe. Right about here. You're going to brake in a straight line. All the way past the 100. All the way past the 50. Make sure you downshift and keep your wheel dead straight while you brake all the way up to here. Okay? So you're going to get down to third, down to second. Then you're going to trail brake. The car's mostly slowed down right here. You just lightly trail brake. Down to first. Right? Come off the brakes. Let the car rotate. Give it a little bit of throttle in first. Grab second. And then ease on the throttle. And you want to use all the road all the way up to this wall without getting understeer or oversteer. So it's all about how you drive through the center of the corner. So we brake straight. Basically till the last possible second. Right before the pit sign. Right before the curb ends. Okay, come in. Cross the end of this pit line with the front of your car. And come in a little bit wide so that you can cut the car on the apex and get a good exit. You want to hold the inside through here. So we're rotating down to first, finish the trail brake, float the car, right? Lean into the steering, get it rotated. Then I grab second, start easing on the throttle, accelerate for rotation. Turbo's going to spool up. And then right next to the wall. All right, now these S-curves. These are some of my favorite S-curves in this game. All right, so after the 50, you're just going to floor it and send it into here after the 50. Okay? You're going to wait until you get past this line. We're going to go over this. You're going to start diving into the corner, and then I want you to brake. I want you to start turning flat out from the outside of the track into this corner and just lightly brake and try and hold it next to this wall as close as you can pretty much the whole way through this corner at like 200 kilometers an hour in fifth gear. If you want a conversion, 124.2 miles an hour through this corner, basically. Okay, so I come in, I'm doing 223. I just tap the brakes a little bit. Slow the car down to about 200. On new tires, you'll be able to hold 200. If your tires are screwed, you're going to be going about like 195, 197, something like that. A little bit slower. Okay, but you're going to hold this speed around here. And your goal when you come out of this corner is to stay to the right a little bit. You don't want to come out of this corner with a lot of understeer and way too much speed and try to use all of the road and end up at this wall. Because there's still 2 more corners after that, and you need to nail them. So you come through here, try and carry as much speed as you can through this corner while still staying to the right side of the road. And then as you come out to about the middle lane, right, with your left tire, and then sweep back over just a little bit. And then as you come in, I want you to turn in, lift, and then gently dab the brake and focus on basically just keeping the car square and don't try to twist it too much, right? So you're just going to lead the car in, just gently dab the brake and get the car to pull to the left through the apex. And then as you come over here, you're going to do the same thing where you just gently brake and gently turn at the same time and pull the car into the right on the apex, right before it. And then you can get back on the throttle on the exit. All right, come in, full throttle. We're going to turn in, full throttle. I'm going to lift as I get closer to the wall. And then I'm going to time my braking so it brings me right in next to the wall. Right? So we're still doing 200. I'm still in 5th gear. If you hold 5th gear through here instead of 4th gear, you'll be a little bit faster and you'll have a little bit less understeer. If you try to hold 4th gear through this corner and then these 2 corners afterwards, it's not a problem, but there's more understeer and you'll go a little bit slower. So I can hold like 3, 4, 5 kilometers faster in 5th gear through these 3 corners than I would in 4th gear trying to rev the piss out of it. Like, yes, it'll accelerate faster if you're trying to get up to speed, but if you're already going above a certain speed, you want handling ability and the ability to just coast and not have to require using max RPM to accelerate in the middle of a corner. The Supra especially, it likes to understeer when you're at high RPM, and it likes to oversteer when you're at low RPM. So when you're in like that kind of mid-range, it'll handle for you a lot better. And you aren't having to floor it and rev the piss out of it in between each of these corners, and then experience understeer on exit when you get back on it at the end of 4th. Alright, so I just hold 5th, dab the brake lightly, bring the car into the wall. Right? So I'm just using the brake from right about here, and I'm just coaxing the car into the wall at 200 kilometers an hour. Try to get as close as I can to here, and stay postured over to the left, so that way when I come into here, it's pretty much a straight shot into here, and I can gently lead the car back in. Right? So we're just chilling, just chilling. My hands are fucking frozen. They do not move. Right? Keep turning left, keep turning left. A little bit longer. And then I straighten out the car while I'm in the middle of the road. Straighten out my wheel. Car's straight. Car is dead straight, pointed this way. Right? It's not understeering really heavy. There's not a lot of force on the right front tire. I'm not pushing into this outside wall. It's just centered, going straight, pointed straight at those fucking buildings. And then all I do is just turn in, right? I'm going to accelerate full throttle right in between these 2 corners. And then I'm going to do the same thing where I accelerate in, and then I'm going to dab the brake, let it roll and rotate at around like 180, 190 kilometers an hour. End up out here, and then bring it back over for the 50-meter board, and then brake into the last corner. Gas, light brake, downshift, heavy brake, In a straight line, slow it down. Firm to start with, and then trail brake in. There, I braked really, really lightly. But on new tires, you can just full brake and then dive into the corner. I mean, I still do full brake for a split second. You still want to full brake for a split second. Have that firmness to stop initially. While my wheel's mostly straight. So I'm turning left. I'm trying to do this simultaneously. See how I'm straightening up my wheel right before I'm about to brake? I'm starting to brake and my wheel is straightening at the same time. See that? So like, I'm turning right before I tap the brake to the left to line the car up right next to this wall. And then as I'm straightening out my wheel, I'm braking in a straight line at the same time. So it's like I whiz across the track, but my braking is still straight and my wheel's still straight, right? I don't try to whiz back to the right side of the track and then crank the wheel to the left and just fucking hold it while I'm braking. Right? So I let it go straight, let the weight center for a second, start my braking, and then as the weight dips onto the front tires, I start to lead the car into the corner. And downshift. This definitely wasn't the best lap. Alright, we'll watch the last lap. Even with dead tires, same thing. Throttle to rotate the car. Making sure the car rotates. Right on the curb. Before the 100-meter board. You're pretty much right before that pillar. Me personally, I'm looking at the 100-meter board when I brake here, but my actual braking point is basically this pillar. When it's like right on my screen, right in front of me. Because like this is my view. And when it's right there, right in front of me, I'm basically braking. I'm still holding 190 kilometers an hour. That was a lot of understeer. That was just a bad corner in general. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Hopefully you guys picked up a few things. Whether it be braking points or just things to do with the track. Corners you can cut. Where you can actually abuse track limits. And yeah, good luck. Have fun. Go get them. Keep your stick on the ice. Don't get SR reset. And yeah, go get that DR.